Hello, everybody. So today we are preparing. I have my room open on Facebook, but nobody has joined. Surprise, surprise. But that's okay. You can watch it at your own time and convenience. But if you're here because you love your kids, as I stated in my videos with my friend Robots, if you love your kids, that's why you're here. And we need to stop this to help them. Anyways, disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I am not giving legal advice, and I'm not associated with any government entity, agency. They don't pay me anything. They take a lot from me. A lot. So, with that, who are having this big event on Thursday? These are the people that train your judges and train your social workers, no matter where you are in the United States. Please understand how important this webinar is. This is when they steer the country to next year's goals set by the Health and Human Services Department, also known as PSERA. Okay? So it's so busy of an event. Last year when I went, I was not able to attend all of it. They have about 3 or 4 rooms open at a time with different speakers. They're they engage, so you're allowed to be in the chat. So it's a good time to talk to other social workers and express your concerns, engage your questions with this capacity building. Unfortunately, my 2 questions from last year, one being, how do they plan to address the vocabulary issue of it not being aligned with the general population's understanding of such terms? For example, risk, at risk, maltreatment. When you hear these words as normal people, risk means they're going to get hurt. Mentally is fine. Like, we don't want to hear you saying really bad things to your kids, or your kid's going to get hurt physically, end up in the hospital. That's what comes up in normal people's heads when they hear these words, at risk and maltreatment, but not to them. To them, what it means is you fit into a criteria based on all those civil right things that they say you can't base things on. They use those to categorize you and make an algorithm to see how many of your type last year were found to have maltreated based on this right here. So it's a revolving door of bias. And it's, which leads me to my next statement about the fact that it's not sustainable. It's a corporate model. And being that it is a human agency, you can't have a corporate model because that means you have to grow. You have to grow your inventory. What is their inventory? Children, families. Okay. And what does the government do? How do they get funded? They show their budget each year and they grow their budget so they can request more money. Oh, so many children are in need. The population growth does not matter. If they're doing their jobs, it actually should plateau, minimally plateau, if they were actually effective in anything they do. If they were a great entity, then it would decrease the number of families because that means they're making a difference in helping people and less people would be abused. And we're not talking about the way that they talk about it in their definitions. We're talking about less deaths of children, okay? Less children in the hospital and less entering foster, and therefore more productive citizens. So that would be the ideal productive child welfare department right now. But being that they were created by Jane Addams in 1909 or something, maybe a little after Whole House. Long story with that one. That communist started it about 100 years ago, and if it was successful, it should have been closed down by now. And they wouldn't have even felt the impact because, with the evolving door of sustaining employees, employee retention, and basically that plus retiring now should have closed that whole agency if they were 100%, which we don't expect. That is impossible. We do know that there will always be an issue with some families somewhere, and they are in theory needed. But when it reaches that point, I think we all can agree that it should be a criminal matter. They prosecute us in a criminal sense. They call it civil in nature, and it's an administrative court, which they're not willing to admit yet. So It's not balanced at the very least. Back to the point. CWVE, Thursday, 7 a.m. California time. Just pick a room to join if you can go. Please, please, please go. Don't make me be the only parent in the world again. Bye.